But Vici mulling over their third ban here. You can see the coach just making sure Dandy actually doing a lot of that conversation there. So it seems like they're working together to make sure the draft goes as planned. It will be Trundle actually that's banned away from Flandre. So taking away somewhat of a carry threat. Big bruiser, pretty annoying split push threat. Flandre was famous for winning games on his own effectively in the LSPL by split pushing people to death. Trundle, a champion that he can do that with.
Yeah, he also did it last year as well, towards the end of summer, where he picked that up as a tie followed seat very quickly. And insta-lock Braum.
Yep, Lulu with the last ban there, so Vici going to pick up that support. That does leave with Snake with plenty of open picks, but EasyHoon's champion pool not touched too much here.
Yeah, there was the rise in the Lulu ban coming out, so two champion bans coming out towards that mid lane, but Lulu arguably can be flexed top lane and is a very strong meta pick as well. But Twisted Fate, Azir, both these two champions still left available, and Snake doesn't look like they want to take away either during their first rotation of picks. They do go for this Corki and the Kindred pickup here, picking up two really strong meta picks, kind of opens up the options for Vici's mid lane.
I think Tank just loves Corki. That's what I've decided. He always plays it whenever it's up, even though we're not seeing nearly as much Corki as we had before. They actually are going to change tactics ever so slightly. They'll deny the Lucian part of the Braum Lucian lane and take Kindred as their AD carry as well. We saw a lot of really good Lucian Kindred yesterday, I believe, with Xiao Gu using that one between Swift and Uzi. See if Zizia and Krystal can replicate some of that magic.
Yeah, and I love Kindred as a jungler right now. Zizia has been very vocal in saying that there are two S-tier junglers, Nidalee and Kindred, and if one isn't available, you have to take the other one. So that is exactly what he has done in this. So staying true to his power rankings, at least. Danny goes back towards Graves, however.
Yeah, Graves actually the pick. We've seen a little bit of it this weekend. Given that, you know, when Nidalee's often banned, you want an aggressive jungler if Kindred's away. There's Poppy, though, as well for Loong, so I feel like he's got a champion he can certainly perform on. And we know Flandre's played a lot of it as well, so it's a nice takeaway also from the Snake lineup.
I think Poppy is, like, hands down, in my opinion at least, with how AD carries work right now, Poppy is the most valuable pick in League of Legends. Lucian not going to be able to dash around Summoner's Rift. All of a sudden, Kindred can't go around and dance people around either, so I think that it's just such a strong pickup, and it denies a lot of power out of Fiora as well, and the counters to her just don't seem to be there right now.
Poppy's just an all-round solid top laner. We've seen her thrown into the jungle and support a couple of times back when she first got reworked, but kind of found home up in that top lane. Doesn't really have any crazy matchups that she dies in terribly, but just does so well against all the current meta picks. And not only can she stop all those dashes, has a displacement spell which can stop teleports, and there's a Kindred on the other side too. You can potentially knock somebody out of Land's Despite, get a kill on them.
Well, there's Lissandra picked up for Snake, and Thresh actually for Ella. So a really solid, pretty aggressive 2v2 bottom lane for Krystal, and Ella might be going back to some of their old habits, particularly into the Sivir Braum lane. But I feel like this is a relatively straightforward end to the draft for Vici. Sivir is open if they want it. It's a decent champion for almost any AD carry player. If Vici wants to minimize some of the risk perhaps of their bottom lane, Sivir's always good. For EasyHoon, his Azir's open. It's just fine here in the matchup. He is going to take it.
So it will be his Azir being thrown into the mid lane by EasyHoon. Snake do have the option of their final pick. So you're going to have to see if it's going to be a mid lane pick or potentially a top lane pickup.
Vici have actually nearly got their perfect team comp. If you put Nidalee instead of Graves and they're a similar vein of jungler there for Dandy, that would honestly be the perfect team composition for Vici. So Snake has given them...
What is Flandre up to today?
Wow, Snake has given them a lot of what they want, but Flandre obviously has a trick up his sleeve because we're going to see a top lane Gragas.
Flandre always has a trick up his sleeve. And honestly, I'm going to say his hit rate on weird stuff in the LPL is actually pretty high.
Yeah, surprisingly very high. Top lane Morgana, LeBlanc split pushing top lane.
Trundle, Smite top laners. Like a lot of stuff that he's played.
Smite top lane Fizz, where he used to go the AP jungle item as well, was really cool. I agree, got a high strike rate here, but Gragas is something that I play in the top lane, which generally means is not very good.
Gragas is in the top lane is one of the first few champions I actually casted back when the Vietnamese teams were playing that up in the top lane as a tank, when it was really popular in the mid lane as an AP burst assassin. But I haven't seen it so much in the top lane lately. I'm excited to see Flandre play it.
Nautilus was open, wasn't he? Good old Flandre.
Yep.
He just it's like, I want a tank, guy. It's like, Nautilus. I'm like, no. Give me the other one. He's like, what? Yeah, give me Gragas. Well, coaches shake hands. Think they may be shrugging shoulders about the draft. But let's find out how Gragas does. It's time for game one. And here we are for the first game of tonight's final best of 3 as Vici and Snake will be taking to the Rift for the last time this week. Remember, this is the last time these two teams will play for a while, as we've had the last week of cross-group matches being today. And Snake have gone with something a bit different to kick things off. Flandre decided to mix it up once again with top lane Grass of the Undying Gragas.
And have to see how it plays out, whether he does go full AP, whether he gets some tanky items in there. Iceborne Gauntlet is strong on the current patch and, you know, utilized very well by Gragas, so could just go for a similar build to the jungle. Something like Roa, Iceborne Gauntlet to Spirit Visage would work out fine.
That sounds gross. You know what that reminds me of? Old Maokai.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I used to love old Maokai.
Well, he has started off with a Doran's Ring, so certainly leaning towards the AP side of things on his Gragas up in the top lane. But a couple of these ability power-centric tanks do start with the ring anyway. A couple of potions to boot. And it does look like we are going to see a lane swap coming out from both of the two teams. So it will be Krystal and Ella moving up towards the top side of jungle with Endless and CaveMan. No deep wards were put down, so this is just both of the two teams blindly moving into this lane.
Yep, seems like the Maokai theory, holds true for the Gragas so far in top lane, but lane swap is, I think, what we expected. Didn't quite get a chance to cover it in the pre-game, but Snake and Vici are two very macro-heavy teams. I expected a team to start a lane swap, but we're actually going to get standard lanes as Snake make their duo up to that side as well. You have to think that with Lucian and Thresh, they do want to play aggressive. We'll see if Krystal and Ella can bring back some of that aggression they were known for.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well, as Flandre's actually missed a lot of creeps in the first wave, but has been bullying Loong quite successfully. I feel like against Snake, you can send your duo into the top lane, and 9 out of the 10 times you'll actually get standard lanes, because that's what Snake does every single game. So it's a conscious decision right now out of Vici, is what I will say, as Loong trying to deny a body slam follow-up there out of Flandre.
Gets slapped for his trouble. Oh, nice hook on the CaveMan. That misses the Q there for Krystal. A little bit miscommunicated. That was a nice opportunity for a trade, but Ella eats a lot of damage on the return.
Both these two top laners, I was going to say, but the duo lane that's up in the top lane being a little bit aggressive to start off this match. Their carries still do have their biscuits, so we'll be able to heal up when they would like to. And ZZR, he's making his way up towards this top lane. Will be spotted out by a ward that was placed down by one of the two duo laners here. Would have to promptly back off after some time. Does have the mark on Sivir, so it does look like he really, really wants to go for this. The CaveMan and Endless playing really safe. And Dandy now, he's moving up towards this top lane, potentially trying to bait out ZZR and try and get a counter gank off.
Yeah, it certainly looks to be the case. We'll see if he actually just goes over the wall. They should know that there is a ward there. Instead, they're going to meet in the river.
And Dandy going to try and do some damage. Good little Q there, but ZZR's going to respond. Gets the arrow down. Doesn't quite get the proc there on the E. Might just have to back off and take the Rift Scuttler instead. So, a bit of an uneventful jungle match there. But Dandy doing the right thing, mirroring ZZR, who was unfortunately, for his gank attempt, straight on top of a nicely timed ward from Vici. As we take it with mid lane, EasyHoon, just doing what you expect here on the Azir, pushing in nice and early. He was sort of the OG guy to bring out Azir back in the LPL, I feel like, this year. So, no surprise to see him back on it now that it's open.
Yeah, 100% agree. And I had my rant about it last time, but he's a very good Azir player. So I love watching him pick up this champion one more time, control Summoner's Rift, make sure he's dictating the pace of the game. I think the game that really sold it to me was against Fnatic, I believe, at MSI, where they were down about 12,000 gold. Fnatic were doing a great job, and EasyHoon's Azir definitely carried out that game. So he's a very impressive Azir player when he wants to be.
We're going to take a look at the bottom lane really quickly as Flandre and Loong fairly even down there. Flandre does have a slight CS lead, but that's a big wave crashing in towards the turret. Loong will be able to equalize that one really shortly, but the Gragas in the bottom lane, nothing too surprising just yet. We're going to have to see what Flandre can bring to the table with this pick later on in the match, but fairly quiet between all the lanes so far. None of them with any huge CS discrepancies except for this top lane where Krystal does have a slight lead over Endless.
But honestly, you expect that, right? When you're playing against Vici, if you can't get a CS lane lead over their bottom lane, you're probably in a lot of trouble as the game progresses. Endless will just continue to shove out waves and stay relatively safe, so there's very low kill threat unless ZZR is able to impact the lane. But credit to Ella and Krystal being nice and proactive and starting to build a 10 CS advantage.
ZZR is going to come back now as well. See if you can maybe pressure them a bit more. Ella does get a nice play down, does pop them with the auto there. As CaveMan and Endless are going to back off. CZR does return. It has a sweeper, but it's on cooldown at this particular point. So he's just going to take that Scuttle Crab away instead. Is marked, I believe, for Kindred. So going to get a nice little stack there for his trouble.
So he gets his stack. We'll see whether he goes to... Ooh, this is a face check. You don't want to face check him.
He's going to take one more auto attack to the face. He's going to continue chasing this Kindred. The Lantern is going to be able to pull ZZR to safety. But he did face check them, took quite a bit of damage from that Graves.
Yeah, so in the end, it is going to be ZZR probably having to go back into his jungle and try and farm up. Dandy uses this time wisely to get some counter jungling done. Graves is still an incredibly healthy jungler. We changed the speed, we nerfed some of the bases. He's a little bit better in top lane at the moment, in my opinion, but he still jungles completely fine.
And Dandy showing that off. Looking good so far early on the champion as Flandre and Loong still having a battle. Yeah, Flandre out of mana is going to cause problems. He's just going to have to slap these creeps away. Loong, though, does get a nice little trade. He does carry him into the wall. So, nice little trade back there as Grasp will trigger on the buckler. Krystal, though, low in the top side, has to lantern out as Endless is able to get aggressive. 2v2 Vici almost get themselves a kill, but CaveMan got really low as well.
Yeah, he certainly did, and CaveMan's actually going to have to go back because he doesn't have the ability to heal up. You can see that Krystal still had that potion to chug. So, in the end, that is a win for Snake Esports. They burn a summoner spell and get 2 back in response. As Dandy, level 6, still looking to be the aggressor onto ZZR.
ZZR only has, I believe, 11 or 12 snacks so far. At 7 minutes into this game. That's another snack that will not be going on over to him. His tank will be able to take his blue buff away. Then let's decided to stay up in this top lane. He's now 20 CS behind Krystal. So that CS lead is getting larger and larger by the minute. Loong teleporting back in towards this bottom lane against the top lane Gragas, so to speak. And he has picked up a Catalyst, so looking towards going for a RRA.
And I love it.
Potentially.
Spawn the Maokai Specialist. Maybe well on the money here.
There's another item that builds out of that, of course, Righteous Glory. You haven't seen it in a very long time, but I do not put anything past Flandre. He is a wizard. But Rod of Ages makes a lot of sense to me, at least, which probably means it doesn't make sense to anyone else.
Maybe you and Flandre are secret top lane bros.
Because I've been trying to sell some wacky stuff
You
this
certainly
weekend.
have.
Have I told you about Iceborne Gauntlet?
You have. Okay, so in all seriousness, how would Rod of Ages Iceborne Gauntlet go?
It would be really successful.
All right, nice.
I think that it would be
ready.
a great build. It's got 20% cooldown reduction in there as Endless gets hooked up.
Endless is going to get hooked up. Flay backwards, has to pop on the hunt. Still has this flash available to get out of this sticky situation. And will be able to do so.
Yeah, but Krystal, as you mentioned, 20 CS lead, now burns the ultimate out of Endless. So they're even safer in this lane, pushing up and being very aggressive. Endless will go back as EasyHoon tries to pick up his blue buff. The reason I like Iceborne Gauntlet is because it's that kind of flexible hybrid item. It augments your auto attack, allows you to go for the big flash body slam combos on Gragas, but also just gives you 20% CDR and some armor, which is really useful against a Poppy.
It is just so much CDR. And ZZR is going to dash his way in for this blue. Doesn't find it. Does get a ward down though and gets chased up by the Wolf Spirit. Might fancy taking this Grump away, but it's a little dangerous. He's been warded up again. Dandy going to try and make him pay. Lantern out though. So no counter jungling successful. Dandy going to keep his Grump and clear that pink ward with a bit of help from CaveMan as well.
Yeah, so in the end, a very aggressive play one more time out of the Kindred that's thwarted by Dandy. You have to say that's probably 3 times, and the CS discrepancy is reflecting that because ZZ are trying to be the aggressor and it's not working out right now. EasyHoon gets some damage down onto Tank now that he has that blue buff, going to be even easier. And a very calm start of this game. 500 gold lead. You have to think that's all in the duo lane right now. Although 20 CS also from Flandre is nothing to scoff at. And Snake just playing this one slow and steady, as they often do.
Loong was doing pretty well in that bottom lane earlier against Flandre. Was able to deplete his mana resources, make him force him to teleport back into the lane. But now, like you said, 20 CS behind. It's now Loong that's been shoved into that tower. And in fact, Vici are going to swap the lanes once again. They are sending Braum and Sivir into the bottom lane. Poppy will head back up towards the top lane. We'll have to see if Snake decides to follow suit. And it does look like they're going to do just that as Gragas is making his way towards that top lane. He has a blasting one picked up, so it does look like a Rod of Ages. His next pick, EasyHoon in a bit of trouble as Snake, they're looking for this one.
Oh,
he has to try and get away. ZZR splashing forward. The ultimate comes down, but Snake will flash over the soldiers, take a little bit of bouncy ride back out, and pick up first blood.
And Dandy's looking for Ella now.
Maybe going to try and turn it around. The Winter's Bite there as well. Passive on for Braum. Ella stunned up completely. That's going to be a kill over to Endless. Vici respond in kind.
Yeah, so very well orchestrated gank by Dandy there. EasyHoon does fall down, but they get one back straight away. So 1-for-1 traders. Oh, that's a nice interaction.
Got him. Well, Flandre and Loong back here in that top side. No towers fell in either side of the map, by the way. So Krystal couldn't finish it off with Thresh in the mid lane, and Sivir did not have enough time either. So we actually just have a lane swap back for effectively geographical purposes, with Dragon likely on the minds of the players, as Krystal is checking for people to be hanging out in this lane. Doesn't have too much vision, as long as going to clear out that pink ward that was placed. Krystal continuing the farm up. Essence River will be his first item. Both AD carries actually effectively mirroring their early builds, including that Cull, which is, again, picking up in popularity.
Yeah, it certainly is, especially in these long, drawn-out games that we're getting used to. Just allows you to have a little bit more gold efficiency as the game progresses. Easy are going to pick up another mark and turn his eyes towards Dragon, as he has now picked up... Actually, he's not. He's got a Devourer, but not going for it just yet. Want to make sure that it's safe to do so before going for it. Maybe even looking for another turret dive onto the Azir.
Poising for it is going to be able to take the Raptor Tank away. Raptor Camp away.
Raptor Tank.
Raptor Tank.
Oh, what a camp that would be.
He's got 2 wolves following him. I honestly think that's why people build Sated Devourer. So Wolf isn't lonely.
WTF 2 wolves?
Makes sense. But then they get sated and he disappears. Wolf gets sated.
Did we decide that's what happened?
I don't. You know what? We're going to find out this game.
We're actually going to remember to check.
Yep.
Because look at the Wolf dancing around right now.
Oh, is he going to do the thing where it runs around Dragon again? That was the best.
That was cool. Yeah, I agree.
For anyone who missed that yesterday, when you hop over Dragon walls as Kindred.
Devourer Wolf does not come with you.
Nope.
Big Wolf comes.
He doesn't have sick hops, unlike Kindred. As Dragon actually does go over, by the way. So 5 Devourer stacks in and amongst all the banter. There's the good news there for ZZR.
Goat legs give you sick hops, mate.
They do. Dude, those things jump high. Don't even worry. They scale mountains and
Goats
stuff.
are aggressive.
Have you... there's a website. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's like goats in weird places. And it's just like...
Yes!
Picture of goats like standing on sheer mountain faces. Like, those things are bonkers.
They're adventurous, I swear. They belong in the jungle.
Yeah, makes sense. Tank is wave clearing out in that mid lane with the blue. Does have an Abyssal now. Nash's first for EasyHoon was actually his choice, so not wanting any early MR. Might actually skip the item. We'll see where he does want to go with his item build. Motivators has to be pretty close though for Flandre as Loong aggressively ports back to lane just to get in and amongst the creep wave again. Flandre does have his TP and he is going back home. So I imagine he'll also TP back to lane because he's got a roller to buy. As Zeri does pick it up. Just under 14 minutes. Can have a nice charge time on that one as a cloth armor is the next thing. So it could be anything.
Could be Iceborne Gauntlet.
Could be.
As he also teleports back into the top lane. ZZR is here. Loong's in trouble.
They're looking for an aggressive play. Loong is now trying to jump onto
Dandy's
ZZR.
here.
Dandy has caught up with the rest of his team. ZZR's the one to take a lot of damage, but now Dandy, he's been jumped on by Flandre. Gets knocked back. The Lancer Spine is coming out to try and keep ZZR alive. Will jump up before the heal, but it's not going to matter because Tank is up here as well. Loong has been locked down. Dandy did escape with a sliver of health, but eventually Loong will fall down.
Really?
Really? Yes, he will. That will go on over to Flandre.
Loong lasts for so long because that is all AP damage once ZZR was gone, and he's got 2 AP magic resistance items, so finally he will fall down. But that took a little bit too long, and I think that that's what they've got in store for them this game. Meanwhile, EasyHoon shoved out mid lane. He's going to be able to take down the turret, it looks like, on the next wave. But good gank execute on the side of Snake right now, and you can see it in the gold advantage. Still slightly ahead, 1,000 gold right now.
So nice little movement there for them, but EasyHoon is going to get the trade and even that gold right back up. Tank not going to be able to defend. He's actually going to get aggressive as Ella's going to try and make it work, but EasyHoon flash surfs his way to safety. In fact, no flash needed. That was just all skill.
Yeah, look at the moves. He is so fluid on the Azir. Gets maximum distance off that combo. Flandre actually takes the top lane turret, and remember that Krystal put a lot of work into that earlier. So that's good news for Vici. Extends their gold lead out to 2,000 exactly.
Speaking of Krystal, he is still 20 CS ahead of Endless in that bottom lane. Does have his SS Reaver picked up. Endless is still waiting to try and get the remaining components for his. Both of them probably have their cull completed by now. We'll get that extra 300 gold. Still keep it in inventory for all of those combat stats that it provides.
And the dream is being kept alive, Spawn. Flandre goes back, gets himself a Sapphire Crystal.
That is 100% Iceborne Gauntlet.
All right, cool. So we've been selling them all weekend. Sell me on the build. Rodavita's Iceborne Gauntlet here to start things off for Gragas.
So the theory behind Jungle Gragas with this, right, is that Lichbane is a great item on Gragas because it augments your W that already does so much burst damage. However, it only gives you 10% cooldown reduction. What's better than 10% cooldown reduction, I hear you ask?
20%.
20% cooldown reduction, which is provided by Iceborne Gauntlet. Synergizes very well with repetitive spell usage. Gives you that mana that you're missing out of because you've got the Glacial Shroud. And then it gets better if you have to go armor item. So I'm expecting this hybrid pseudo-tanky Gragas in the top lane. He has some wave clear because he's got a roller. But now with the Iceborne Gauntlet, going to something like a Dead Man's Place, he'll be a big brawler that can go in the front line and chunk out Endless as Sivir.
Love to see what he decides to pick up next, but Vici in a tough spot as it's going to be Snake trying to collapse on this bot lane, do it underneath the turret. Endless gets chunked down incredibly low. Krystal's going to take the Dark Passage out as Endless tries the kite, but it's not enough. CaveMan is the next to go down in the back line. It will be Dandy with a nice pickup, but EasyHoon gets the stun onto Tank, then drops the Emperor's soldiers as Dandy picks up 2 kills.
Yeah, so really nice play out of Dandy. Fires his ultimate from Frog of War. ZZR doesn't have a chance to ulti. That means EasyHoon has time to sweep in. They're still going to go and try and pressure this turret. Teleport is not available for either top laner.
Could be problems here. EasyHoon, so much damage. Krystal, one auto, and he would have died. Abyssal Nash's Azir is not messing around.
Yeah, it certainly is not. Let's take another look at this one. So Endless and CaveMan do a great job because once again, their job is to live as long as possible. So they're dancing around this turret, making sure that's the case. CaveMan especially kind of splits focus here. Dandy sweeps in, able to get the first kill, and then EasyHoon flashing for just a stun so Dandy can get the damage down, grab kill number 2. They would have loved a couple of those to go over to the Azir, but Dandy having them definitely no slouch in his own right, goes back, picks up a Hex Drinker. This graves well and truly a rove in the mid lane, and Vici have their first lead.
Vici their first lead is once again EasyHoon.
So the change we made to make it go that far is that as long as you don't hit the end, you can move. So as you E, you have until the very last second before you stop to move it with your Q. And you should see the freakish amount of distance this man covers on his ear now. He zooms all over the Rift.
Certainly does, and EasyHoon's going to show that off here in this game. You have to think he already has some highlights here in this game, but tower is going to fall for Snake. They continue to play reasonably well around the map. 2 for 2 now in turrets as the goal pretty much evens back up. Dragon back in 3 seconds there as well. ZZR has his eyes on it to help him out with the Devourer stack. Snake are actually going to sit here and start it, but Vici are prepared to fight.
Yeah, this is risky because of how strong Dandy is right now. You can see that the collapse is going to come out potentially. No, they let it go. Not sure I agree with that play, just because Dandy has a serrated Dirk as well as a Hex Drinker. He's massive.
So Vici will give up the second Dragon of the game. And it will be a blue buff going on over to Tank once again. ZZR donates that one over. Dandy actually used his ultimate to try and steal that one, it seems. Not quite able to pick that up. But now we're going to see what Vici and Snake decide to do next. They still have Loong up in the top lane. ZZR is still farming out in his jungle. EasyHoon here will be still trying to push out this mid lane as fast as possible. And keep Tank underneath this turret. ZZR already has his Nash's Tooth, has the Abyssal Scepter picked up as well. Tank's still working towards a Zhonya's Hourglass, it seems, as his next item. And there's a Sheen being picked up by Flandre, so it should be what seems to be
An Iceborne Gauntlet.
an Iceborne Gauntlet. But he hasn't used that cloth armor just yet. Could be a Lichbane.
No, it's not.
Not today. As Vici are going to start themselves the Rift Tail. Nice to deny away from Kindred, but not a bad buff to pick up, especially given that it's the last available one. Pick it up right before the Baron would spawn anyway, and there's Baron. Oh, hello. That would have been close.
Yeah.
As Baron gets evicted out of the Baron pit.
It's like when you throw a party when your parents are out of town.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, you just get everyone out of the house as, like, Mama Baron swoops in.
Hope you cleaned up before. Oh, those Barons going to be very grumpy. ZZR, though, might look for this red buff. I think he's a stack away after that camp from being sated, so that power's going to come out for Kindred relatively soon. And Tank, now with that Zhonya's and Rapid Fire Cannon up for Krystal, seems like the 2 items are up for Snake. We pop over to the Vici side. Pretty much 2 items. Still looking at maybe complete the second one fully, but everyone's looking nice and healthy here in this game with Snake having barely a gold lead. As Loong and Flandre will return once more to a side lane and continue to do battle with the minions.
Well, Loong ignores everyone now because of how he is itemized. Hex Drinker into Spirit Visage, and he's going to grab a Sunfire cape for himself. There's not really much anyone can do to slow down the Poppy, but is still a little bit ignorable, and hopefully they can dash around the rest of the team and try and clean up EasyHoon and Endless. But Loong is just, this is the thing about Poppy, such a potent frontliner that has consistent CC and good damage.
I think we missed it, guys. ZZR, if I'm not mistaken, just got sated, so we didn't get to see what happened to that wolf.
No!
Not mistaken, it happened on screen as well.
Now we can see if he doesn't have it anymore. That's
that's what we want. We don't care what happens at the exact moment.
Cool. So that's something I might know, because when ZZR gets his second auto attack off, which procs Sated Devour, you see like a ghost image of him, which is the same color as the wolf before. So maybe the wolf becomes ZZR?
Well, it's gone right now. I think you're lying
Hit a champion, ZZR. Hit someone.
No, he's not. He does not
Wolf's
listen to
lonely.
your rules. So, Baby Wolf is gone. You are correct.
Did he evolve into Mega Wolf? Is that what Wolf has now become?
You played way too much.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Mega evolutions are not a thing in my world pastry time. You get 3 stages, that's it. This 4th and 5th one, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I just don't think you can count past 151.
I cannot.
This Tank now in a side lane does have TP, so is available to provide pressure if he is needed. Might need assistance in the bottom side as Flandre and Loong having a scuffle.
This is going to take a while.
Certainly is. Loong's winning though, because Poppy, Iceborne Gauntlet, not quite enough power here for Flandre. Loong's really taken over this lane now. And this is where the issues could start for Snake, because Loong is a real threat in any side lane.
Yeah, completely agree. He is farming up nicely. 207 CS at 22 minutes. Flandre is still ahead of him, but like, there's a reason that you see a lot of Poppy, and this is the first top lane Gragas game I've seen in a very long time. Poppy just seems to be a little bit better of a pick, as we now have a collapse coming out into this top lane.
Yeah, did it look like Endless and CaveMan wanted to move up there and get position on towards Tank? Weren't quite able to get anything out of it as we take a look back down into this bottom lane. Now, Flandre being a little bit more respectful, you could say, keeping his distance away from Loong. Farming out once the creep wave moves back towards him. It's EasyHoon still doing a good job of pushing this one out. And it's been relatively quiet after an action-packed mid-game. Completely even between these two teams. 40,000 gold each. 3 kills to 4, 2 turrets apiece, 2 dragons going over to Snake. And just seems like both these teams want to be a little bit quiet, farm it up as much as possible. Endless will take his red.
So let's have a look at what the teams are actually trying to achieve in this composition. Vici have a really good rush comp with Loong and Sivir, but they also have control. Dandy creates a field with a smoke screen that you can't really enter. EasyHoon does the same thing with the Emperor's Divide. And they are going to be able to control neutral objectives relatively well. On the side of Snake, they have the double stasis. We talk about this a lot. You know, Tank has the ability to ult himself as well as use that Zhonya's Hourglass. And then ZZR has the ability to put everyone into stasis on his team. So they have these big areas that they want to fight in and then ulti up. So really good 5v5 team fights out of both teams. One more of a zone control composition that will clean up really easily because it is a Sivir. And on the other side, you have to say that the execution comes down to ZZR and Tank and how they can keep people together. The one thing I will say about Gragas top kind of shares a similar vein as Azir in the mid lane when you have it with a Kindred. If people try and utilize your Kindred ultimate to stay alive, Gragas can just drop the ultimate in the middle, boot them all out. No more safety.
I think in general, Flandre is going to want to try and team fight, but right now he's actually fighting Loong. There's no help coming, actually. Just doing a nice job on his own. Pulling Loong around a little bit. Somehow winning initially, but again, Poppy will almost always be fine. As Dragons back up, maybe that's where the teams are going to look to next, as Vici are the first to the area.
See whether they're able to utilize some of the damage that is currently on Graves to pick this one up. They're waiting for a face check, but I feel like right now, Snake just don't really care that much about the objective, so they'll let it go over to Free. Actually, no. Teleport coming in.
Teleport is coming in behind Vici. It will be Flandre just trying to get on towards the backlines. EasyHoon's being caught out, gets knocked back into the rest of the team. He tries to flash over, throws the soldiers, but misses everybody. And it looks like Snake, they're still strong in this fight despite losing their... No, not losing their mid lane here, so they're going to try and jump onto Loong now. He's in a lot of trouble, taking a lot of damage. Tank moving on forward, but Vici just get obliterated. They only lose L on the side of Snake. They're still trying to chase for CaveMan. A little bit far away. Tank wants it. Not quite able to get there, but that's 3 members from Vici going down.
Yeah, 3 for 1 in favor of Snake right there. Very clean teamfight execution. They want Baron because once again, ZZR does it incredibly quickly. They don't have a tank until Flandre gets there. He's going to wander across. This is going to be awfully close, but it looks like Krystal can take it up for long enough.
Yeah, should be all right there. Good trading of the Baron aggro there, as Snake are going to take it out for themselves. Baron does go over to Snake as they win a decisive team fight around the Dragon area.
So, I was right, by the way. Whenever ZCR goes for his proc,
I love that that's what you go back to.
Yes, because I was watching for it. Whenever he gets his proc, the purple wolf comes out as a shadow of ZZR, so a shadow of Kindred.
But no one's debating whether you're right or wrong. I love how you're like, you guys are wrong, I'm right. We said we don't know.
Yeah.
So, like, great.
So I'm not saying you're wrong. Just saying I'm right. I've tilted spawn, unfortunately.
I don't know about some of the things you like, to be honest. But you know what? Let's talk about the game, because we do have a pause. And it's actually been a pretty interesting game so far. We were sort of seeing a lot of this from how Flandre was building as distortion boots. So maybe going back to more of his aggressive teleport style. Massive flank on EasyHoon there to start that fight off. Snake's team fighting has always been something pretty wonderful. Flandre usually the one to start it. Feels like they have to team fight with this comp, and they do win a nice team fight
That was
there.
a great flank. He ruined EasyHoon's day, was able to get into the back lines, boots EasyHoon towards Krystal. The ultimate did absolutely nothing. EasyHoon got no damage out. So that was a huge play out of Snake. And honestly, it probably will be the game-winning one, because they pick up the Baron on the back end, and they just are going to be able to take so much off it. What you need to do against Snake is ward your flanks. We always talk about it. And EasyHoon should have burnt the ulti the other way. As soon as he saw Flandre, the goal was to keep Flandre out of the team fight and let everyone else take care of it. But that was just great execution out of Snake.
It sure wasn't. EasyHoon was in a perfect position at the start of the fight. Flandre's flank completely ruined just that. He tried to be a little bit cheeky, jump over towards blue buff, didn't execute that properly before he threw out his soldiers, but exactly that. Flandre with a great flank crippled them.
Well, we are back into the game now. So, nice short delay there as Snake in a position of power, most certainly. They're at 3,500 gold up or so, but looking to make that more. They've got the Baron buff, they'll charge down these lanes, see what damage they can get done after their fresh shops. And Vici going to have to hold on for a few minutes and weather the storm.
And I'll go back to it. Dandy holds so much power on this Vici lineup right now. He has 3 out of the 4 kills, and he's still huge on the Graves, but he hasn't had the impact that he was having on his Nidalee earlier this week, so has been a little bit confusing. And Loong, the player that we said has to step up, especially against Flandre, he was having a great week, isn't playing to the high standard we've come to expect out of the top laner of Vici Gaming, and that's really hurt them.
Getting Flandre a bit as well. Flandre's actually had a surprisingly strong laning phase. In fact, he's going to keep fighting here, but Loong is going to win without the minions to help Flandre out. Snake still looking to crack this mid-outer. It's actually sort of unfortunate for them that they haven't been able to get it just yet, because it's going to buy Vici time if nothing else. You can see EasyHoon's wave clear is phenomenal. Got the Rylai's now as well. As Loong and Flandre are still at it. Baron up minion's going to help out though.
And I want to see if he goes for a banner of command here. I feel like it would be a very Flandre item. Try and get some side wave control against this Vici lineup that is pretty famous for being able to control objectives around the map. And as you mentioned, they got a good team fight. They got Baron, but it still is only 5,000 gold, and it's 30 minutes into the game, so it's a sizable lead, but nothing that really says this game is out of reach for Vici right now. And with a Sivir, the late game scaling always going to be relevant, especially when you throw in a 0 on top of that.
Still have to try and climb through a 3,000 gold lead that Snake currently possess against Vici. 7-4 on the kill board for them. 5,000 gold lead, unfortunately. I can't do math. Really can't do math, apparently. Well, 3 turrets to 2. That I can do. 2 dragons to 1. Snake definitely putting on the pressure against Vici. They will be able to continue their pushing in the bottom lane, especially with the Baron up minions. Flandre is split away from the team, but does have his teleport available and has a banner of command now, so he will be able to get the ball rolling up in the top lane and start a push there.
Pretty classic setup here for Snake, especially with the Baron buff. Although I do have to maybe hurry up because it's about to wear off. Red buff steel is going to be the first option. But unfortunately for Snake, they might not break too many structures here as the culling is going to be burnt onto EasyHoon. Does get some poke down. Azir shrugs most of that off. Wave clear there as that poor cannon gets ravaged by the boomerang blade. And Flandre has to back away from this turret. Was pressuring it a little bit, but Loong is just too threatening, especially with his back to a wall. And Snake, Baron's going to drop very soon. I think it might just be the one turret we saw in mid lane that they get.
Yeah, so they use it to get about a 6,000 gold advantage at this stage of the game, and they're about half an item ahead each, but it's huge components. When you look at it, it's an Infinity Edge versus BF, so a pickaxe for the AD carry. Top lane's really not that relevant because they're both just playing utility right now, whereas mid lane, it is a void staff that is completed up. massive deal right now for Tank. He's going to be doing huge amounts of damage. And I'm going to go back to it. Dandy needs to be the playmaker in this game. He really needs to facilitate something, either a face check through good vision, be able to get some good damage down, and clean up the back end of a team fight. Because 3 kills onto the Graves, you would expect him to explode. There's a reason that he's such a well-renowned jungler / top laner around the world. It is because he normally translates his leads.
Well, see what Snake can do with their lead, because the Dragons back up in a minute 10. They won their last fight, almost baiting Vici into it with a nice flank, but I think they'll just take this one, as Vici probably going to play a little bit slower. Let's see if they can't deflect what Snake is trying to rush forward towards them with. Definitely plenty of strength here, though. Snake, always been a team fighting team. See if they can find a team fight they like. It's only really been that one high-impact fight so far. And Vici likely not going to make a similar mistake. So Snake going to have to force them into action here. As long as in that top side getting the push down. Hook on a CaveMan is going to get some pressure. But again, it's just all a dance here. As Tank actually positioned nicely. And out of vision there, Vici look a little afraid to go near this dragon.
30 seconds till that dragon comes up, so Vici need to try and decide if they want to try and contest for this dragon or just give it up to Snake. And this is dragon number 3 for Snake. If they take it cleanly, Vici are positioned around the pit to try and contest for it. Flandre still split pushing up in the top lane. Loong is going to go up to match him, and in fact, it is the Gragas going back to base now, so he will have the home guard buff as EasyHoon gets chunked out here.
Double summoner spells actually burnt for EasyHoon. Endless is low. That's a free dragon. Flandre stops his recall. He's like, I don't have to go back to base now. I can just follow in my banner of commanded creep. Is EasyHoon going to be able to solo this one out? It will be Snake picking up cleanly dragon number 3.
And it really felt like, I think, the Krystal solo show on that one, because looking down the cooldowns, didn't see what happened. Feels like it just sort of forced them away as Snake will rotate themselves down to this bottom side of the map. Once again, after taking the dragon, Flandre still working on top side, but Loong is going to go and meet him. Try and stop that split push. Again, the wave clear here for Vici is excellent. And Snake are really having trouble busting through as Loong and Flandre do battle once again. Flandre real tanky though, and does get nice damage onto that turret, but still no dice on this siege here. Maybe the next Baron is where they look to, up in about a minute from now.
Yeah, and Flandre is a monster right now. He is unmovable in that top lane. Level 18, first on the map. Loong is just behind him there, but Loong just can't hurt him enough. As they tried to chase Flandre off the blue buff, and maybe a little bit of a skirmish in the bottom lane.
Even takes that blue buff away. EasyHoon trying to move up to try and stop that. Not going to work. Tank's now split away from the team, so Snake are 1-1-3 at the moment. The rest of the members of the bottom lane will head back as EasyHoon is still trying to clear out this wave. And look, just still staying up in this top lane. Flandre and him have had, you know, they've been staring down each other a couple of times now.
And we thought this was going to be a long set. As far as, like, international standards of play, Vici and Snake are the closest we've got to, I guess, Korea or Western teams in style of play. Not skill level, I'm not talking about that at all, so don't yell at me. But they play a very slow, measured style of game. They lane swap quite effectively. They control vision quite well, both teams. And they go for these big flank teleport plays and try and win out that time. It went in Snake's favor, but the items are still there. So Vici, all they need to do is win one teamfight game. We'll be back on it completely even setting. And you can see that they're looking for it right now, trying to dance around, assert that vision control that we've been talking about, and make sure the flank doesn't come out of Flandre.
Well, Loong actually looking to get aggressive. ZZR going to have to run himself away. Sun turret falls to Krystal as Vici trying to make sure they're on the right side of the Baron control game, but Flandre starting to slap down these turrets. He does a pretty significant amount of damage. Banners up that creep as well, just to try and make sure he gets it down. And he's going to get it. That was very calculated.
Yeah, it certainly was. And, you know, we talk about Deadman play Iceborne Gauntlet all the time. Synergizes incredibly well with each other. Gives you that momentum slap that you can go into. And then the persistent slow out of the Iceborne Gauntlet generally is enough. And Flandre right now, very tanky dude. Does a little bit of damage as well, so you can't ignore him if you're a Sivir. And I think that maybe Endless is going to regret not picking up a Phantom Dancer by the end of this game, because Flandre is definitely going to be in his face.
And we've seen how devastating Flandre can be when he gets to flank onto Vici. Last time it was EasyHoon on the receiving end. We have to see if they set up another flank, if it's going to be Endless this time, and how much damage this Gragas can really deal to a black line, and how much they can cripple the back line of Vici as well. So they are going to try and group around this Baron pit now. Vici clearing out the wards as much as possible. Snake are grouped up as 4, leaving Flandre to continue their split push. They still do have a nice
Teleport
goal
out
lead,
of Loong.
but there's the teleport coming from Loong.
He's going to see what he can get done. Loong actually traps somebody. It's Krystal. That's a good catch there for Vici. And Lucian out of position. Now 5v4 around Baron.
Flash wallbang is such a decisive initiation. You're able to chain it like seamlessly, and Loong just bodies Krystal into the wall there. We saw Flandre do it once, and he's trying to do it one more time.
Well, we have to see something as the Baron fight is going to ensue. Loong actually dives in as Flandre put it in, looking for the flank again. Snake do pull them off the Baron 4v5. And Vici, they have to be careful, but I think Flandre's a touch out of position now.
But he's got that momentum. He runs incredibly fast for a fat man. Do not let that deceive you. And mission successful. You know, they get one pick.
Oh!
Loong now might be in a bit of trouble. Takes a bit of damage.
Oh, now Flandre's in trouble.
He was slammed into the wall there as long as desperately trying to stop him from taking that Dark Bashes. A hook will come back onto CaveMan. The rest of the stay just cutting backwards, but another slam into the wall. He's going to get taken down. Endless picks up that kill. Vici on the hunt. CaveMan's jumping forward. Will pop down the Winters by Ella now. The next target here. Double kill coming up from Endless. And despite the disadvantage in gold, Vici pick up another fight.
And you know, credit where credit's due. That was on the back of CaveMan and Endless at the end of that fight. Really chaining their abilities together well. Loong started it all off with a good catch. You never aggress onto a Poppy because you can't get back out. And she's so much quicker than you as she pops that W. Baron goes down. They might even turn onto Krystal here. He needs to be careful.
He's going for the 1v5 hero play. Tank actually going to try and make a difference. Flash there. Massive ulti. Krystal takes out CaveMan as they're going to keep chasing in. EasyHoon's going to die. Dan is going to look to fall as well. Endless, the only one left as Snake fire back with a Krystal Quadra.
And that looks so much like Spring Snake. They're on the same page. Crisp initiation out of the mid laner. Krystal cleaning up. It was against a Baron up lineup, 3 versus 5, and Snake
Goodbye,
now.
Endless. Oh!
Krystal gets taken out, but it will be Zenyatta picks up the return kill. Snake look phenomenal.
And they're going to look to take an inhib in this game. Still quite long death timers. Don't think they can close it out. CaveMan up in 10.
I think they're going to
20
try.
on the next man, but they might try.
They're going to try for it. They do have ZZR. He does a lot of damage to these structures. Tank is chipping out away at it as well. Thresh is now coming back into the base too. Only CaveMan is
They're
up.
gonna try.
Respawn time is at too long. Dandy's up in 10 seconds. CaveMan is trying to delay as much as possible. Tank taking out the tower, but the tower is going down. The Nexus is open. Here comes Flandre. The Tank is going to slap this one down. And Vici, they had a glimmer of hope, but Snake shut